Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Data Engineering Show with myself, Boaz, and Eldad.
Hi, everyone.
How have you been, Eldad?
I'm good.
Are you ready for Hanukkah is around the corner? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, you want to come over for?
Can't wait to light some candles.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so with us today, getting ready for Christmas time, I guess, is Erik Heintare. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us, Erik. Erik is joining us from Bolt. He is a senior analytics engineer / lead data analyst at Bolt. He has been there for over 4 years. Before we let Erik introduce himself a little bit further, a few fun facts about Estonia in general, where Erik is from. So Estonia, small country, only around 1.3 million, but is actually ranked number 1 in the world in unicorns per capita. That's very interesting. Also, regarding Bolt, if you haven't heard about Bolt, means that you probably haven't been spending enough time in Europe or outside the US. Bolt is actually a big competitor to Uber. Next time you hop off a plane in a European country, try not defaulting to Uber and see if you can get a ride, a scooter, a bike, even food delivery from Bolt. Bolt is active in over 300 cities across more than 40 countries by now, mostly in Europe, but also Asia, Africa, Latin America. And that's exciting stuff. Bolt was founded in 2014 in San Francisco. But in recent years, especially, I think saw tremendous growth. Erik, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Amazing.
You were wrong about the San Francisco part. It was actually founded in Tallinn in Estonia.
Got it. Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah,
amazing intro.
In the PR, it's sometimes, they tend to, once they open the San Francisco office, it takes over everything in the PR. But thanks for the correction. It makes a lot of sense. So far, the company is still privately held, has raised over $600 million to date, serving more than 75 million end users. So, Erik, thanks. What did I miss? Anything about Bolt that I left out?
No, actually, maybe a couple of things about Bolt to add more is that we're actually not focused purely on Europe. And I think we're the leading ride-hailing and delivery app, not only in Europe, but also in Africa. So we should be the biggest player in Africa as well. So Europe and Africa together, like 2 billion people. So quite big market, actually.
So tell us, what do you do at Bolt? Let's hear it from you.
Just one more thing, coming back to the intro part, and when you mentioned Estonia and the facts you gave, then actually I prepared one of the fun fact about Estonia, and it included also that we have most unicorns per capita. But when I usually do this intro to foreigners, then I also say we have most supermodels per capita also in Europe.
Interesting. We should investigate a correlation between startups and supermodels. Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, great intro. So yeah, I've been at Bolt for more than 4 years. Initially started off as first data team member ever. So before me, there was no one working purely on data. I started off as a data analyst, basically trying to get started with our data warehouse together with engineers, try to automate and move away some queries from production or pre-live environments to data warehouse. Also wanted to get rid of Google Sheets, all of those things, and try to optimize everything we did in a business. Within those 4 years, I gradually moved, since we hired more analysts, moved to like analytics manager / lead analyst role. But then after some time, still wanted to be more hands-on. So now I'm mostly focusing on our analytics platform and still helping everyone in the analytics also around all of those topics. So yeah, this is what I do.
Awesome.
And have been doing.
Let's talk about your title for a second, because it's interesting. You call yourself a senior analytics engineer. We all know data engineers, analytics engineering is something you hear less about. What do you think what that means?
Yeah, so I think it's around tooling and the things that we actually do in the analyst world. So this analytics engineer in general doesn't mean there is a big difference between like analyst work or data engineer work. It's just I'm more focused on helping to build infrastructure for our analysts, meaning I think the biggest user of analytics engineering is the company TVT Labs, and they are promoting it heavily. For us, it's we're not using TVT, but still the work that we need to do is basically build out a platform for analysts, for business users, for product users to do their work efficiently, smoothly, with high quality, high speed. So I'm somewhere in between data engineers and data analysts. So this is how we combine those two together.
How big is Bolt in terms of headcount worldwide?
So worldwide, I think we're more than 3,000 employees, and data team just reached over 100 members.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about that. So what kind of data roles exist in Bolt, and how are they spread out in terms of departments, groups, teams, etc.? And where do you fit in?
Yeah, so we have 3 different roles. I think it's pretty common. We have data scientists, data engineers, and data analysts. Data scientists and data engineers belong to engineering organization and are like a centralized group. So they report to some higher management in engineering. And data analysts are, they belong to a product organization mostly, and they report to product managers. So they're way closer to the business and to have the effect and the knowledge about everything, what's going on in the business. So this is why we went with this hybrid approach. Initially, with I think 3 data analysts in the company, we thought of going with centralized also for analysts, but it didn't make any sense, and we're quite happy with the setup at the moment. So
you report to product as well, and not to...
No, actually, I'm part of data engineering. Okay. So we have 4 teams, 4 sub teams in data engineering, which is firstly it's data lake, then it's data transformation, thirdly model lifecycle and experimentation platform, and 4th is my team, which is analytics engineering.
Got it. So let's talk about the data stack and dive a little bit deeper there. Before that, in terms of data volumes, what kind of data volumes does Bolt deal with? So if you want to be fancy, and fancy starts, I think, from petabytes, then we can say that our Redshift cluster can handle more than 4 petabytes of data. But actually, we're not there yet. I think our data lake in total is somewhere between half a petabyte and 1 petabyte, somewhere around that. In terms of sort of daily number of events or daily data volume, Yeah, so talking about from analyst perspective, then we do, I think, bit less than 500,000 queries a day in our BI tools. Then talking about as we serve all of the models also as a platform, then I think we do 100 million model lifecycle calls daily. So wow, quite a lot. I think there are, from those 3,000 employees, more than half of them use our BI tool also on a weekly basis. Okay, so let's break that down. So tell us about the data stack a little bit, maybe, from bottom to top. How does it look like? Yeah, so we stream our data from live databases and services with Kafka to S3. Then we have, of course, as I mentioned, Redshift as a data warehouse. In the S3 and Redshift, we do some transformations in Apache Spark or with Apache Airflow. Then together with Redshift, of course, we use Spectrum, which is basically a layer to get data from S3 directly without storing it in Redshift.
And then we use Looker as our BI tool. We use SageMaker, or all of the data team members use Jupyter Notebook. So this is just a brief overview and a really, really high level of what are the tools we use. I think there is nothing really, really epically different than other companies are doing. So I think it's pretty common stack.
How long has this stack been active? I mean, if you rewind 4 years ago, how did it look back then, and how was the journey?
So 4 years ago,
Google Sheet.
There wasn't almost anything. We actually, just when I joined, the guys just saw a cool thing. Since we were on AWS already back then they saw like, hey, what's this Redshift thingy? Let's spin it up and see. Maybe we can use it. So, of course, we still use S3. So S3 was there. We didn't use Kafka, so it was a bit different then. And then I think in Redshift, when I joined, we initially had like top 10 tables, maybe from live databases, just like getting orders and to understand like where are drivers or how active they are, just to get the first initial. I really remember when I joined, like I needed to get some data, and engineers were talking to me. Is like, we do it from the live database. We query it from the live database. It's like, we don't have time to like data warehouse. Why should I bother? And now it's like thousands of tables. I don't know even how many together with Spectrum we have in Redshift. So, and it's like constantly improving. So a lot going on there.
And eventually you guys are using Looker. Is that the only BI tool, or do you have other methods of visualizing data in parallel?
For front-end analysis, we also use Mixpanel, but everything that we, as a data team, want to like have a better control and better structure, and the use of backend data also, then Looker is our by far the biggest BI tool that we use. Yeah,
I think I saw on your profile somewhere you mentioned the use of a Moonson as a data catalog. Is that in use? Can you maybe tell us how you guys are using it?
So I'd say it's in alpha stage for us. But basically, the company is growing so fast. There are more people coming in. There are more tables popping up all the time. And we wanted to get a better way to scalably share the information that we have around our data. And data discovery has been one of the bottlenecks of scaling. So we started off trying out two different tools. So firstly, Knowledge Repo, which is basically where you can host, it's a repo filled with Jupyter notebooks where you can add some metadata on top of it. And also Moonson. We currently use it in quite limited scope. So we have all of the Redshift tables there. We have key tables, key columns, key schemas all like commented, and we have attributed some owners to them. So at least like if you search for something, you want to know what's going on with food delivery couriers, and you're the first time doing it from the marketing perspective, then at least you will be easily able with one search to understand where are the tables, how they're structured, what are the like key tables, and who's the owner of those tables from data team perspective.
Can you maybe share, how does Bolt approach the data engineer versus analyst relationship? How do you guys make sure that things are delivered quickly, and the analysts and the business departments can sort of stay self-sufficient and move fast? Has that typically been a friction point, or any insights you can share on how you guys do that?
Yeah, so I think it's also pretty common, but of course, we struggle all the time either to build the platform to be better and scalable for the future, or support the current needs for analysts or data scientists, so they could move on with their projects. So it's a constant battle between prioritization. What we have done is that periodically we have changed our focus. So from some time, we focus more on the product request, making sure that everyone gets their stuff quickly and efficiently. And then we also we communicated to our users also, is like, for the next 2 weeks, we're heavily focused on building our data platform. So all the requests that you have, we will only maybe solve the most critical ones. So please mark them accordingly. It's never easy. Product always tries to push their own needs first, because why would you bother optimizing something in data engineering? For them, it doesn't give any return on investment. But their feature, which they want to launch, of course, it's super easy to put a number to it. So it's a constant battle. Of course, we communicate a lot together with the team. So this helps to understand the priorities, and this is the only way to go.
Let's talk about some of the use cases. So, there's the big Redshift at the center, according to what you say. So what are the sort of the use cases that are run on top of it? Yeah,
so I think Redshift biggest abuser is Looker. As I said, we do quite a lot of queries from our business users, from our analysts. So they are the main users. Of course, we have our experimentation platform using it. Then we have our ML lifecycle, model lifecycle, which is basically they are also using to retrain their models, profiling services fetches some data from it. So basically everyone fights for the spot in Redshift query queue. So yeah.
Can that get ugly sometimes?
Oh yeah.
Fighting over resources.
I think I will leave it to the later question, maybe potentially about Gloria's failure. So
okay, let's do it. Okay, so let's do a quick stop and move to something fun and quick. The Blitz question round. Are you ready? Don't overthink. Don't overthink. Let's see. So, write your own SQL or use a drag and drop visualization tool?
Write your own SQL.
Looker or Tableau?
Looker.
Commercial or open source?
Heart says open source, head says commercial.
Batch or streaming?
Streaming.
Work from home or from the office?
Hybrid.
AWS, GCP, or Azure?
AWS.
To let people self-serve for analytics or not bother?
Let self-serve.
Bolt or Uber?
Bolt.
Boom. Well done. So
I didn't even leave you time to finish your question. I already said Bolt.
Very good. So, what are the biggest challenges though with the current stack? So what are your top priorities for next year, given what you guys have today?
Yeah, so since the current stack has been around for more than 4 years, then actually we're currently in the phase of finalizing the POCs for the next generation data warehouse. So we're potentially either getting rid of Redshift, replacing with some other, or adding something on top of the current stack, or just playing around with all the different things that are available right now to make sure that we're enabling our users for the next 100x growth also. So this has been a big focus for us in the last couple of months, and we try to finalize it during this year, and next year will be where we basically work hard on making sure that we have the next generation data warehouse ready.
So you're going through a traditional evaluation process?
No, we are using some of the methods that have been out there, and a lot of companies have been doing their POC. So of course we take ideas from there. But what we do is we also apply a lot of our internal knowledge and a lot of let's say we gathered a lot of internal queries which are heavily used at the moment, and we wanted to see how they would perform, because there are some tools that are really, really good when you just need to query data from one table, and there are some other tools that are really good at joining together 20 tables. So what is the best for us? So we try to cover all of those things, it's been a heavy job to do those POCs, and kudos to all of the team members who are doing this. It's not an easy decision to either switch out or keep the current state. So you're only responsible of the most used and valuable asset potentially for the company.
Any particular technology or sort of feature that's out there that you really are upset you don't have access to today, or you would like to have in your next gen platform?
So I think one of the things that pushed us to move maybe a bit faster with this valuation process was that we are currently hitting some of the limits when we talk about concurrent queries, and so basically peak hours. So this is where we struggle the most at the moment, and this is what we want to solve as quick as possible. Because if business users cannot see the data or need to wait for 5 minutes for it, then it's not worth it. And we
so you have products blessing. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm assuming decoupling storage and compute will be a big deal.
Yeah. Yes, most likely.
Yeah. You had mentioned the glorious failure prior. I really don't want to pry, but since you brought it up, tell us about some glorious failure you remember.
Maybe I hyped it up too much.
Too late. You have to know. Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things we had. So basically, it's a combination of multiple things. So Looker quite recently introduced integration with native integration with Google Sheets and Google Drive. Which means it's easy to set up a schedule from Looker to those places. We did it, we enabled it, and we thought it's good thing to have. Of course, business users, you will never ever solve all of the cases. People always will try to copy your data to some Google Sheet and add some manual stuff on top of it. So we thought
sort the data.
Yeah. So we thought doing this is a great idea. It reduces manual workload and all of those things. But what we didn't realize was that due to some limitations from the Google Sheets and Google Drive APIs, the scheduling takes a lot longer than scheduling Slack message or email. So what happened was people were too happy about this, and they set up a lot of things, of course, to the Monday morning, together with all the other reports that are running on Monday morning. So basically what happened was that we had hundreds of new schedules randomly popping up on Monday morning. All of a sudden, none of our overnight schedules or works didn't finish. We didn't know what's going on. Like we saw that there is a load. It was really hard to estimate like what is causing. Is Redshift working slower? Is it because of Looker doing something wrong? So it was like we couldn't find it out on the first Monday. It took us 3 Mondays to actually solve it, and it was a combination of many things. As I said, like concurrent scaling from data warehouse side wasn't performing as we expected, and Looker wasn't like working as I expected. So basically for 3 Mondays in a row, our company users couldn't query the data.
How did that affect those weekends?
4 hours. Sorry?
How did it affect your weekends?
Well,
it happened on the Monday, so they worked on the Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday got it right. Had a weekend that was okay, and then one day all over again.
Yeah. So this is exactly like by the lunch of Monday, we were seeing like, okay, we killed the top queries. We did a couple of adjustments. It looks like it's working. So let's see how it works on next Monday. And it didn't work then as well. Of course, and then it was easy to get priorities from product also to speed up all the POCs for the next generation data warehouse. So.
It goes back to the Blitz question. Don't let people serve because they will overschedule stuff on their own and ruin your Mondays.
Well, I still say self-serve.
Yes.
Yes.
But carefully, with care.
Gradually.
Another takeaway, do the crazy stuff on Mondays and not on Fridays.
Exactly. Respect the weekend.
Weekend same.
Yeah.
Okay,
but let's not be so negative. What about positive stories? Tell us about a great win.
So, since I've heard a couple of the episodes before, then I immediately started to think about it. And there are a lot of like wins that are like should be mentioned. But one of the things that I thought about was actually when the COVID hit first, then basically we lost 80% of our company's revenue. And
sorry for that.
Basically, we got a request from top management is like, hey, guys, can you scale down a bit, maybe 60% or so with all of your data infrastructure? And actually what we did was we managed to reduce all of our infra costs more than 50% within like a couple of weeks. And it didn't affect the end users that much. Everything remained to work as is. So basically it gave us a huge boost moving forward. We did quite interesting things there, and from that we learned a lot, and thanks to that we're now at way lower like level than we would have been before the COVID hit.
Can you share some of the details? How did you go about reducing costs?
So I don't think there is only like one thing to point out. Like just on a high level, I think one of the quick switches was that we moved away majority of the tables from Redshift to Spectrum that weren't used that heavily. So this gave us like we could easily have a smaller Redshift cluster. Everything that needed to be like get out from S3 still would be used easily through Spectrum. But there were like, I think there were more than 20 items that that helped us to get this level.
Wow, impressive! Yes. Good win.
This is how you scale. This is so well spent, the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we are reaching the end almost. Maybe before we end, we'd love to get a few recommendations from you from maybe recent technologies that you've had a chance to play around with and got you sort of interested or excited, even if you haven't adopted them fully. So any tips or things that you ran into recently that you want to give as advice to our listeners?
I don't want to point out any specific technology or tool specifically. But during those POCs, what we found was that be ready to change your perspective on some of the tools. So maybe you checked out something 2 years ago. Maybe you checked out something 6 months ago. Nowadays, everything moves so fast, and it could be that 6 months makes a huge difference to the product. So what I would highlight is like if you rejected something like 1 or 2 years ago, and you still have this issue in your hand, take a look at those candidates also, which you rejected back then, because so many things are happening in this space, and huge improvements all across the board. But yeah, we saw some, like, we needed to change our perspective on some tools.
Mm-hmm. I do want to also close the loop on the topic we touched on prior, going back to that big Redshift cluster and how ugly it can get when so many people want to get access to the resource. How do you manage that? How are decisions being made in terms of prioritizing who gets what?
You mean who gets what? Like query prioritization or access to the data?
Query prioritization, because I assume there's so many workloads running.
So for us, it's since Looker is the main user, and majority of the business users use it. So we have prioritized quite a bit to the business user side. So it's fine that some of your experimentation platform can run instead of 5 minutes, 7 minutes. This is fine. Mm-hmm. But for Looker, if it runs like a couple of seconds or 2 minutes, then it's like huge difference. So we prioritize our business users first, and also what we've seen is also coming back to the previous point about changing perspective. Then we try to solve like a lot of this prioritization manually for quite a long time. But what we see is that a lot of tools that have like internal auto prioritization, auto scaling, all of those that are basically built into the product, then in the long run, I see that all the auto settings might win. Same goes with, Google or Facebook ads from different industries. It's like you can fine tune it yourself however you want. In the long run, they will have more data to how to optimize all of this. Yeah. So you can trust them in the long run. So this is also what helped us. So and also it's like you don't need to have manpower to it. You don't need to monitor it so actively that if you're screwing up or not. So this also
nice. Also regarding Kafka, sorry for suddenly reminding myself so many questions when we were about so close to finish. But Kafka, so are any of the reports actually closer to real time, or is everything more batch oriented? Since you're using Kafka, what is looked at in a more sort of real time ish fashion?
So together with the next generation data warehouse that we're planning, then actually there are two side projects to it also. Is what we call like next generation reporting system for batch and live. So in here we are building out infra to serve not only internal use cases, but also external use cases. All the engineers could, show some numbers in the client apps or restaurant apps or courier apps, and also batch reporting. If you're a restaurant and you want to get your weekly results, so we're also working on it to get it live already first half next year. So we're not doing that much live reporting at the moment, but we have a dedicated team working on it, so we could have it. And also, like maybe not necessarily Kafka live, but still like one of the next generation data warehouse like goals was to reduce the ingestion lag also, so to get it more closer to the real time.
Got it. Awesome. Nice. Thank you, Erik. This has been super, super interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great having you.
Yes, it is. Thanks.
So I enjoyed the time. It was great.
So see you around the data world. And when we visit Estonia, we'll make sure to stop by for coffee.
Sure. You're welcome.
Take care.
So we've launched just a few months ago. We're growing quite nicely, right? Yes. How many views do we have?
Very happy.
I think we've got we're in the thousands, right?
Happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Not bad. But we want more. If you like this, help us spread the love.
Yes.
If you don't like Eldad, spread,
vote for replacing me for someone else. That's fine.
And, we promise to try our best to keep bringing
You're amazing, Boaz.
The data people from the most interesting data companies. So subscribe, make our mama proud, help us out.
Love you, Mom.